Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's video tutorial, we'll be learning how to cut a perfect princess that bustier without gaping. So what we need is our complete basic body skill to do that. That is the front and the back. So here we go. We've gotten the neckline, we've gotten our shoulder slope, we've gotten the armhole for the front. Then for the back too, we've gotten our armhole, our shoulder slope, and our neckline. Yes, including our zipper allowance. So the next thing for us to do now is to incorporate our measurements to the paper. And here is the measurements we need. Our shoulder, our front chest line, which we've gotten here. Now the things we need is shoulder to the chest line, which is the same for this client, which is the same thing with that of the bust up bust. We also need our shoulder to the bust points, our shoulder to the under bust, then the half length. So and the nipple to nipple point, that is the bust span. So let us start doing that now. Shoulder to the up bust or to the chest line, which for this person is 7.5 inches. Try to get that out. Then for the shoulder to the bust point, we have 11 inches. We have 11 inches. So this paper here, it's folded into two. It's divided by 4. The bust measurements and everything divided by 2. So this one is assumed, this is the front, which is on fold. Assumed is on fold. Then the back, the same thing too. So as the bust is 42 of this person, what I'm having in this paper here should be 42 divided by 4. That is 10.5. Then I added just an inch of allowance for this place. So what we are having is 11.5, as you can see. So that is what I did for this part. So you shouldn't forget that. Then the next thing is the under bust. Our shoulder to our under bust is 15 inches. So we'll do well to mark it out too, so we can get a straight line. Shoulder to our under bust is 15 inches. So this is the half length already. So let's write it down. The under bust, the half length, the bust point, the up bust or the chest line. And for the back too, what we need is just the person's back half length, and her back half length is 15. Back half length is 15. So here we go. The difference between her bust, her back, and her front is 2 inches. So this is it here. This is the back. This is the half length for the back. So the next thing we need to do is to get the bust span out, or the nipple to nipple point, as the case may be. So I'll be using 8 inches for this individual. I'll be using 8 inches. Yep, so here we go. So these are the things we need. Now remember, this is the bust point and this is the under bust. The person's under bust circumference or round under bust is 34. So the difference between her bust and her under bust is 8 inches. So what I love to do when it is 8 inches, you know the dart should be in 4 places. I divide into 4. That is the difference is that's 8 divided by 4, which gives me 2 inches. So in this instance, that 2 inches it gave me, I'll mark it here, 2 inches here, 2 inches here. Then I'll do well to, after taking that 2 inches out, I'll do well to add another, that's half an inch to this other place. So from that 8 inches, after I took 2 inches, you know, automatically it will be 2 inches in one side, 2 inches in another side. That is already 4 inches. Now I'm taking one out again. That is 5 inches. So I'm having 5 inches for the bust intake for the front. That is how I love to do my calculation for my darts. So the measurements, it helps us to not just take haphazard measurements, but helps us to know what to take. So a person that is not so busty wouldn't need the up to 2.5. Can need 2, that is 1.5 in one side, and then half an inch in another side. So this is just how we do. Then once this is done, this 2 is taken. The next is to connect it with our curve. Connect it to our French curve. We'll try to patiently get a nice curve so that it would not affect our sewing. If our curve is not nice enough, it could make it too pointed. So that's the next step. Try to get a nice curve. Yep. So this is what is done now. That is for this down part. We'll go up and do the same thing for the up bust. The midpoint is 3.25 for this person. So I would love to take my that's intake from here for the up. From the midpoint, I'll do this. That is for here. Then I'll apply the same method. I'm taking 1.5 inches off. 1.5 inches for the darts up there, for the upside. Yeah, this is this. Remember, our bust and up bust are not the same thing. And for a busty person, they tend to have the difference between their up bust and their bust tends to be plenty. So that's why I'm taking 1.5 inches. So if you wish to take 1 inch out too, there is no problem. It's also fine. Just take note that what you are taking away, try to add it back. As I took 1.5 inches, I'll have to add it back so that when we are sewing, it will align. It will help us to get a perfect. So here, this is it. So we get our armhole again. So this is the current armhole that we need now. We do not need this one anymore. So immediately I'll try to notch this point. So it will help us while we are joining. So as this is done now, I want to blend. I want to blend with my curve now. Remember, this one was a little bit higher. So we blend. So the most important thing is for us to get a perfect curve for this place. Yes, so I have blended it. So this is what I am following. So this is how we do it. Then the next is to go with the bust dart. The bust dart also helps us to increase our up bust region, yeah, and also our under bust. It adds contours. So what we do is how we could get our bust dart is the difference between the client's front and back is what helps us to get our bust dart. So in this case now, the difference between the client's front and back is 2 inches, and that is what is here. So I've taken that 2 inches for the bust dart. Then lest I forget, we'll try to blend this part together. Yeah, we'll try to blend. The reason for this blending is it could be difficult for some persons to try to maneuver while they are sewing this part now. But once it is blended, it makes it easy for them. So that is the reason for the blending of this part. So this is our complete measurement. What we need, complete measurement for the front. Now let's go to the back. The same method too is applied. The nipple to nipple point, that is the bust span, is what we'll use to 4 inches and 4 inches with our ruler. You get it. Remember, what's remaining from this part for the dart intake is 3 inches. It's 3 inches, so that means a part is going to be 1.5, another is going to be 1.5. So this will be 7.5 to the left, 7.5 to the right. So when it's measured completely, we have 1.5 inches. So putting up the back is not that hard. Getting the back of this is not that hard, except we want to, cut our darts out or thereabouts. In a situation where you don't want to cut your darts out, this is what we have. And then for the zipper allowance, our back is not straight. So what I try to do is I try to take half an inch off from this waistline, from this half length. Can you see? So I connect it above from that half an inch. Try to get a connection here. So this is it. Then if you still want that 1 inch for your zipper allowance, I do the same thing again. 1, 1, 1. So this is what we need now. So this is the current zipper allowance at which we would need. This is the current zipper allowance at which we would need. So the next thing is to incorporate our allowance. The bust was, as I said before, the person's bust is 42. That's here. It's 42. Then her waist is 34. 34 divided by 4 gives us 8.5. So 8.5 plus this 1.5. We've taken this dart out, so we have to place it back. So initially it's supposed to be this, but because of the dart intake, we're adding it back plus 1.5. So this is it. So this is the main measurement at which we need now. So the main measurement at which we need to connect. So this is it. So while we are placing on our clothes, we can do well to add allowance, because it's obvious that the allowance is not much anymore. It's except you want to use half an inch, that this one will be okay. But if not, this is why we placed it on the fabric or thereabouts. And please don't forget that while you are doing that, all these places should have an allowance. Please do not forget. If not, it will shorten your measurement. It was the exact measurement that we added. So all these parts should have an allowance. They should please have an allowance. Yes, so from your paper, anyone that you prefer, you can get it out now, so you to just help you to cut it, or while you place it on the cloth, do not forget to do that. So this, and then the allowance for this, the same thing applies to this. You try to get our allowance, and then for here too, the 2.5 inches we've taken away before, we add it back. Our waist is 30. We also have 8.5, but with the 2.5 inches of allowance that we've taken out here, this is the waist. She has the same measurement with her under bust, so that is the same thing. So this is the waist. In this instance, we've taken a lot for the under bust, so for the bust rather. So in this, at this junction, this is 10.5 here. It's 10.5. This is the bust, the half length, and the under bust. Here we go. We're trying to connect it. This is how it is going. This is how it is going. Yes. And the reason is because we've taken our bust, we've taken like 5 inches from the front. That's intake alone. So let's take note that when we are doing this allowance, there's no hard and fast rule. What we've taken away, while we are adding it back, rather, we should incorporate all these things to our measurement. So let's cut out, but I am not cutting the exact allowance for now, the exact measurement for now, rather. This is what I want us to cut because we've not removed the bust dart. So I want to cut the pieces out first. So remove the bust dart. The importance of this bust dart is that it helps to add a contour and to both the up bust and the under bust. That is why for some persons that are not so busty, if you decide that you do not want to take any difference off for this 1.5 inches we took for the up bust, fine and good. Once you've incorporated the bust that, it will still align. That is for some persons that are not so busty. So here we go. This is the notched part. I'm notching this part so it will be easy for us to when we are sewing, if you do well to notch that part to make it easy while joining. Please take note, we are adding allowance to all these places. Do well to do this. Remember that, please. We're adding allowance to all these essential places, the same way I did for this part. So we are taking our that out now. Taking our dart out. So as I said earlier, we need to blend. We need to remove our bust dart. So you could decide to cut off, you could decide to just fold. Anyone that you want to do that is okay by you, fine. But take notes, this is how we do it. We are connecting these 2 points together. Yep. So this is it. So you can use your masking tape to do this. So this is why I said I am not going to cut the exact this thing then. My masking tape has covered this. Can you notice? This was the allowance, this was the initial one. But after picking this bust dart, if you can see very well, it has affected from here to here. So this is my reason for doing that. So here. So even if it is when it is that measurement, I try to wait a little bit. Let me get this out first before I cut. So in this instance, you can cut a little bit of your pieces. And place under. Sure you get. Can you see? A little bit of your pieces and place under. So that's just what we need to do. Yep. So this is it. It has been placed under now. So this is what we have. So now I can retrace my measurements and then mark it properly again. So this is what I can do now with this done. Now this thing here that we've done has helped this our bust. As I said earlier, it's going to add contour. Yep. Can you see now? We took 1.5 inches then, but what we are having is more than a 1.5. So it has added contour to both the up bust and the under bust. So this is one of the reasons why eliminating our bust dart away is important. So when we are placing it on our cloth now, this is what we're going to do well to place. We'll place this alone on our cloth. Add your sewing allowance. Remember, the sewing allowance includes everything here, this point, so that your measurements wouldn't shorten. So you add the sewing allowance that is best for you, so that your measurements wouldn't shorten. And once you do this, you will have a perfect princess that's bustier. The same thing applies to the back. You cut your back off. This 1/2 inch is what you removed. You do the same method here. So this side is not needed. So this is what we need now. So just do this and place on your fabric. Are good to go. Thank you very much for watching my channel. Do well to subscribe and click on the notification bell so that when other videos come, you'll be opportune to quickly get notifications for the videos. Thank you very much.